Hey everyone, welcome to today's webinar on the High-Speed Nevada Phase 3. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about reference pricing. We wanted to get you the reference pricing as soon as possible and before the actual launch of the request for applications in the subgrantee selection process so that you would have as much time as possible to figure out which regional project areas that you're interested in serving and do all the legwork that you need in order to make your applications. So to start, I'm Brian Mitchell. I'm the director of the Office of Science, Innovation, and Technology. And with me today is Lucas Kuczynski, who is our GIS and data visualization analyst. So just quick agenda for today. We're going to talk a little bit about what are the RPAs, what is reference pricing, how does reference pricing relate to application scoring, and then we'll do a quick demonstration about how OSID provides the reference pricing information to potential applicants for funding. Just really quick, I think it's important to kind of always start off with a little bit about what our why is or what our broadband vision is. And our vision is that every Nevadan has access to high-speed internet that's affordable, reliable, and scalable. We developed this vision through thousands of hours of community and stakeholder engagement during the development of the state's 5-year action plan, as well as our BEAD initial proposal and the other funding documents that we have. We are pleased that we're able to work with all of you. Specifically, we want strong collaborations and partnerships in order to make long-term investments. And in this project and other projects are all weaving together different funding sources in order to enable us to achieve our goal. Specifically about the BEAD program. BEAD program is a part of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It's a $42.5 billion program. Nevada's share is $416 million. And what we're doing today with BEAD is a part of the High-Speed Nevada Initiative, which is our larger initiative that will connect all Nevadans. Phase 3 of that initiative will deploy last-mile infrastructure and connect over 52,000 unserved and underserved locations. Really briefly on regional project areas, as we described in our initial proposal, Volume 2, OSID has grouped unserved and underserved locations and eligible community anchor institutions that were identified during our challenge process into regional project areas. You'll hear us refer to regional project areas as RPAs. We recently published a map and a GIS package displaying these RPAs. The regional project area map is designed to visualize the RPAs all across the state. From these RPAs, we will conduct a fair, open, and transparent subgrantee selection process to allocate funding to winning applicants that will serve all of the eligible locations within the RPA. We're going to continue to provide more information about the subgrantee selection process as we go. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what reference pricing is and what does that have to do with the RPAs. As we described in our initial proposal, Volume 2, OSID will reference pricing that is specific to each individual RPA. So each individual RPA will be its own RFP, so to speak, or its own solicitation, and will be scored and evaluated and awarded individually and independently from others. Specifically, for each RPA, we will provide applicants with 3 pieces of information, or 3 numbers. The first number is the estimated total cost to serve every location in the RPA, and we'll refer to that as the reference price. The reference price was derived from cost modeling data and business case analysis information done by CostQuest Associates, and then subsequent analysis by OSID. The second number is a target BEAD subsidy dollar amount. Absent a waiver from NTIA, OSID can only provide at most 75% of the cost to serve each RPA, and applicants must provide the remaining 25% or more of the cost as match. Finally, the third number is the BEAD subsidy percentage, which is simply the subsidy amount divided by the reference price. So how does reference pricing relate to application scoring? So again, we'll turn to Nevada's initial proposal, volume 2, where we lay out the process. The score you receive for this particular part of the scoring is based on the amount that you bid in relation to the reference price and the subsidy dollar amount. Now, I want to be clear, we'll take a deeper dive into application scoring in a much greater level of detail in a future webinar. But for now, we'll stay at a high level, and I want to be clear up front about what reference pricing is and what it is not. OSIT is required by NTIA to score applications in part based on cost. And in fact, the largest single factor in scoring was required to be what NTIA calls minimal BEAD outlay, or in other words, the lowest amount of BEAD funds required to serve the locations in a project. So cost is not the only factor in scoring. It's just one of many factors in the overall scoring. The purpose of the reference price then is to facilitate the scoring of your applications. The reference price, to be clear, is not a take it or leave it amount. Rather, you may think, for example, you may think that the reference or that it will cost maybe twice as much as the reference price in order to build to all locations. And if that's the case, then go ahead and include that amount in your application. You may also think that it would cost half of what the reference price says it would cost. And certainly if you bid less, then that will give you an advantage in scoring over somebody who bids the exact amount of the reference price. So what's important for today's discussion, I think, is that we'll provide you with the reference price and the subsidy amount for each RPA for the purpose of scoring. And we will ask that all applicants provide OSIT with three things: their total cost, the amount of subsidy that they'll ask for, and the amount of matching funds they will contribute, if any. Now, we really want to encourage everyone to apply, even if your costs are different than ours. All right, so how does OSIT provide reference pricing information to potential applicants? I think perhaps the best way to describe this is to actually show you what the information and to walk you through a brief demonstration. And so for that, I will turn things over to my colleague, Lucas Kuczynski.
Thank you, Brian. So I am just going to walk through how one can access the GIS package and bring in this reference price information into your local GIS or whatever GIS software you're using. I will start by just mentioning in the Nevada Regional Project Area map, you'll be presented with a splash screen that contains some information, and you'll see that there's this GIS package link, which you can click and it'll open up the package and take you to a drive folder where you can download it. I also want to mention that if you just click this here hyperlink, it'll bring you to the OSIT BEAD page, and you can also find the package in here. And then within the map itself, if for whatever reason you can't see the splash screen, you can go to this About section widget and open up the package either, again, from the OSIT page or directly here from this hyperlink. So lots of different places where you can actually get the data. In the map itself, the reference price information is now accessible through the pop-ups within each of the RPAs. You can also see the subsidy amount shown here. In the attribute table at the bottom, you will now be able to see the reference price and subsidy amounts. And I wanted to mention that you can export this table as a CSV for all the RPAs. You can also export as a GeoJSON. This will bring it in as a GIS file that you can visualize in your GIS software. On the right-hand side, there's a little toggle button that'll open up a more detailed screen for the layers. And from here, I also wanted to note that you can open up the details and export the data that you see in the map, uh, either as a GeoJSON or a CSV or a JSON as well. And you can do this for all the layers here, except for the BEAD eligible broadband serviceable locations. We are not allowed to share the geometries for this layer due to licensing restrictions. So once you have opened the GIS package, and I'll just go back here. So if you click this, it'll open up this new tab and you'll have the option to download it. And when it downloads, it'll show as a zipped folder. And I want to be very clear that you will need to extract this zip folder. So you'll need to unzip it in order for the layers inside of it to work within the QGIS project. Once that QGIS project is opened, it'll look something like this. There's another video that walks through the layers in here and some other information. I recommend taking a look at that if you have any questions about all that is posted inside of this project. I will just mention here that what's been updated is this reference price table, which you can open and find the reference price subsidy and the subsidy percentage attributes. You can also click on this little note in the layer and see some data dictionary information about the reference price table. There's also going to be a data dictionary text file included in the GIS package folder. And then finally, in the polygons themselves, the reference price and subsidy amounts are joined into the geometries. So you will be able to see in a similar fashion to the web map what the reference price information is by clicking on a RPA here. So that's about it. I will turn it back to you, Brian.
Hey, thanks, Lucas. And that concludes our presentation today. If anyone has any questions, please email highspeednv@gov.nv.gov, highspeednv@gov.nv.gov. Hope you have a great day.